Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy KJ here, and I want to talk about Rebirth Island, and more specifically loadouts for Rebirth Island. Now, I get a lot of comments in the comment section on my channel saying, hey, what's the best loadout for Rebirth? And very recently was raised again by Hamza D Gamer, who's a regular commenter on my videos. He said, can you please make a best Rebirth loadout video? I don't know what to use. I think this is pretty common because the loadouts on Rebirth are slightly different than Verdansk, and with Rebirth becoming a really popular game mode, almost a staple game mode now that a lot of people play a lot or exclusively, their loadouts are slightly different because it's a little closer range, it's a little bit more like multiplayer. So what are some of the different things that you can do on Rebirth, perks, loadout differences? And I want to talk about how I play on Rebirth because I play it a lot and I use it for almost all my game footage. So I wanted to cover that today, so I got it for you right now. All right, so first things first, what are some of the loadout types that I use? So I use an AR SMG, which is a very common one, but works really well. Sometimes I add in a shotgun there, so we'll talk about that in a second. I use a close range, high mobility AR and a sniper, and then I'll also use an SMG Sniper combo. And then I have a ghost class, or now I guess a tempered class that I use when I get a second loadout. So let's start with the AR SMG loadout. I'll show you a little bit of gameplay, and then I'll show you the loadout that I use. All right, so if I'm being honest, this is the loadout I probably use the most often, especially when I'm having a rough night, because the Krig and Mac, which is the combo I'm going to show you here, is a really good, fast shooting, easy to use combo. So, you know, when all else is failing, I grab the Krig, I grab the Mac, and it was really a good confidence builder. It helps, you know, if you're having a tough night and it seems like the games are super sweaty, this is the loadout that I pull out that helps get me back in the game, because it's easy shooting, it's got high mobility, and with the high fire rate on the Mac, it makes those close range engagements really easy. Now you can substitute it with your favorite AR and your favorite SMG, but this is the ones that I use, and I find that they're really successful and, you know, really help get me back in the game. So let me show you my AR SMG combo that I really like, that I feel is the best. But just before I jump into that, I want to say thank you to everybody who's recently subbed to the channel. I appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys. And if you haven't subbed to the channel, consider subscribing because it really does help small content creators like myself. All right, now let me show you my Mac 10 Krig build. Now I already covered the Krig, and I'm going to do a video on the Mac 10 more specifically next week, but I'll show you the loadout in this video real quick. So for the Mac 10, it's Agency Task Force, Target Team Spotlight, the Raider stock, and the Stenag 53 round drum. And this way, this thing has been super awesome for me. And you can see here, the mobility is pretty high. It's got decent range, and the fire rate on this thing is like 1100 RPM. So it's a very forgiving, easy to use SMG. Now you can also use something like the LC10 or the Milano or the Uzi or the Fennec or whatever it is that you really like to use. Just the fact of getting a high RPM, close range, really easy to use SMG is a really good one. Now for the AR, you can use the Krig, the C56, C58, whatever it is, and FAR, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. But the Krig right now is the king. And I also covered the Krig recently. So Agency Suppressor, CMV Mil-Spec, Axial Arms 3X, Stenag 60, and the Field Agent Grip. Now this has been a really solid combo for me, and I'm telling you, when all else fails, this is my go-to. Now I want to give a quick shout out to shotguns instead of SMGs, especially on Rebirth. Shotguns are really viable, and I use the Jack 12 and the Gallo, and they're both really good. And I find that, you know, especially when you're in a pinch situation, the time to kill with shotguns is super low. So like, watch, you're running with the Gallo, blast this guy. This guy's down. I think another guy ran in right around the corner here. Yeah, he did. And like, this thing, using these guns like this is super toxic. It's hilarious. I love using it, and you know, you get really fast downs, but I tend to, you know, have a lot of really negative death comms when I use shotguns, especially like this guy right here. You know, I came in, ran around the corner, and he was chasing me. I had no plates, and boom, got the down. Now the best part is right after that clip where I was using the Gallows, I got this message from a guy, and it says, imagine using the Spaz trash. He actually took the time to look me up on Xbox Live and send me that message, which is, I don't know, pretty hilarious. But anyway, you can see how toxic that is. So let me show you a couple of those builds. So for the Jack 12, it's a modern warfare gun, Forged Tac Marauder, the Torrent Barrel, Tac Laser, 20 round mag, and the stippled grip tape. And both these here give you damage range and tighter pellet spread, which is why I use them. Really effective, and as opposed to the Street Sweeper, the reload on this thing is like 4 seconds or 3 seconds. It's really fast. It's like an AR. So it definitely makes it a lot easier to use. And for the Gallo, So special shout out to Horror Gaming, who watches me on Twitch all the time. He suggested this, and I'm telling you, it works really good. Those clips was me using it. Agency choke, reinforced heavy, ember sighting point, no stock, and the Stenang 12 round tube. This thing murders people up close. It's brutal. So it's definitely a good gun, and if you like those close range engagements, this is it. And thanks for that, Horror. Now, when I'm feeling a little bit more confident, I really like using an AR sniper combo. The ARs have a little bit less mobility than the SMGs, but they give you a bit more range, and sometimes they're a little easier to shoot, especially with the recoil in ARs at longer distances being lower. So if you're looking for something that's going to give you a bit more range than an SMG, then you can definitely try this, and the sniper gives you a lot more long range. And sometimes even on Rebirth, I really enjoy sniping. So if you want to up your range game a little bit, this sort of takes the SMG AR and really moves it out to probably another 100 or 150, 200 meters of effective range where you can down guys. All right, so one thing about sniping with the AR sniper combo is check these three guys out here. I downed 3 of them with the sniper, and then I just jumped out the window with my AR, and I think I'm using the XM4 here, and I just ran down, and the one guy selfed, and I got him, and then his buddy was right behind me. I think I flipped around, he jumped up, and boom, I blasted him down. So one thing about this combo is it gives you a ton of range, and with an AR, I really like sometimes using the sight on it regardless, still very effective. So there's lots of really popular ARs that you can use for close range. So let's look at the sniper first. For the Swiss K, which is what I'm using, or you can use the Modern Warfare Car 98K. But for the Swiss, I use the GRU suppressor, combat recon, SWAT 5 milliwatt laser, airborne elastic rack, and bruiser grip. And I'm telling you, this thing works amazing with this combination. I've had tons of snipes and kills. This is such a great gun. I actually prefer it over the car by a lot. Now, for an AR, I use the XM4, the Krig, the Groza. There's all kinds of really good ones. So for the Krig, I run it slightly different than my Krig for long range. Agency, Tiger Team Spotlight, Raider stock, 45 round, and bruiser grip. This is basically an SMG build on an AR. So you can just take whatever AR you like and put an SMG build on it. I'll show you my XM4 build as well that had the Microflex LED sight on it. And for the XM4, sometimes I like to run it with the Microflex LED and, Tiger Team Spotlight, Agency Suppressor, Raider stock, and the 45. So I get rid of the bruiser grip and grab the Microflex. I just sometimes like having a sight on my gun. And this on the XM4 also works really well and has really good mobility. Now, if you're really into Modern Warfare guns, the RAM and the car was also a really good combo together. And I know some guys like to use the Modern Warfare guns, and the car is very popular, and so is the RAM. And I'm telling you, both these two in this combo also work extremely well. I had no problem, using these instead of Cold War guns. And to be honest, sometimes I like to use the car because I kind of miss this scope with the arrow on, and I find it really precise to be able to use. And I did play with the RAM back in the Modern Warfare days a lot, so it always felt really comfortable to me, and it's got kind of nice iron sights. I like the way that they look with the circle. Kind of makes you feel confident as long as you get the guy in the circle when you're running up that you can get the down on him. So I know some people just like when they're completely open, but there's something about that one that I like, and I did use it successfully on quite a few games to end up winning, right? That guy runs in, then his buddy runs right in behind him, and boom, game-winning shot right there. So that loadout as well works really well. So I'll show you my loadout for that real quick. So I have my SMG style here for the RAM, so monolithic suppressor, the 13.5 compact, tac laser, 50 round mag, and the Commando 4 grip. This thing works really good as a close range, medium range gun. And then the car, this has been a pretty stable loadout for a long time. Monolithic, the 27.6 SynGuard custom, tac laser, sniper scope, and the AFTAC Sport Com. This is a really good marksman rifle or sniper rifle if you want to use Modern Warfare instead of the Cold War guns. All right, last but not least is an SMG sniper. And why use an SMG instead of an AR? Well, it's faster time to kill up close. It has higher mobility typically than assault rifles. And if your buddies are all carrying assault rifles, when you're not carrying one, they're really going to appreciate it when you drop all your ammo for them. I know my teammates do that for me sometimes, and I really appreciate it. So SMG Sniper, it's a really solid loadout. Check these guys out here, right? So I don't have an AR at all, which sort of seems like an odd build, but you can snipe at a really close range. This guy here is just on the other side of the wall. Actually, I was inside the same on the long end of prison roof there. I sniped him, and went and blasted him. And this is OTS-9 and the Sniper, which is an even shorter range SMG. So you can definitely change the SMG type that you like to use. And look at this, is just down a hallway. And you know, the thing about sniping is when you get used to it, you can do it at super close range. I got that first guy down there and they were still trying to push us. Blasted this guy, second guy through the bars there, and just ran around the corner and boom. They were pretty well all cracked because we'd been fighting them for a while, but did manage to get that whole team wiped. So for SMG Sniper, the Milano is still probably one of the best close range SMGs, although you could definitely use the Bullfrog, which I'm going to cover really soon, or the PPSH, which is also a really good, you know, medium long range sniper. So for the Milano, I'm basically using an AR build on it. So Agency Suppressor, the Task Force, I flip between the 2 and the 3X, Snag 55 round drum, and a Field Agent grip. You can also try the PPSH, and here's my PPSH build here, the GRU Suppressor, Task Force, the Spetsnaz PKM stock, 55 round drum, and a bruiser grip. So any of these sort of long range SMGs that have a pretty good bullet velocity and, you know, strong time to kill over a longer range work really well with the sniper rifle. And then of course the Swiss, I pretty well already covered my my Swiss build, but there it is again. So these ones really work well as well. And this is I would say this is a bit of a higher skill setup to not have an AR, but I didn't find I was really hampered with it and then it impacted my gameplay at all. You don't really need an assault rifle, especially when you get used to using an SMG at slightly longer ranges. And that's sometimes where the Microflex LED really comes into its own. So if you want to get a bit more of an AR feel, you add that, get rid of the bruiser grip. You're going to lose a little bit of mobility, but that sight, I know a lot of guys love to use it. It gives you just a really good clean sight picture for when you're fighting. And of course, a special shout out to the Milano because, man, this thing in that AR build like this, it's really good close and really good far. And I'm using the Axial Arms 3X on it. And to be honest, up close, it still works awesome. Like, I don't find that, you know, zoom is too far that I had any problem. And when this high mobility like this guy's running like crazy from me, right? That scope really comes in handy right there when you're trying to get that accuracy to get those downs. And here it's pretty far away. This is like AR range, no problem. Looked over there, got that guy. Another guy hiding on the roof here, shooting down on my buddies. Boom. Blasted him. So that's one thing about the Milano and those long range ARs, or SMGs, they really work well. Now, one thing I did want to touch on was perks. And in perks recently, I've been using Quick Fix a lot. Now, I know a lot of guys are using Cold Blooded to counter Combat Scout, because this is the one that lights you up when you're getting shot at. But I don't find that really bothers me all that much. And the thing about Quick Fix, if you've ever played multiplayer, as soon as you get it down, you get all of your health back instantly. It's not that like long 10 seconds before you hear that like inhale noise and you get your health back. You get it back instantly. So it can really save you, especially when you're fighting two guys, because you kill one, you get your health back, and then you can fight another guy really shortly after, even if you don't have any plates. That saved me so many times. So I used to run double time a lot because I love the extra sprint speed. And EOD, I don't find I really need, you know, to take the reduced damage from grenades and stuff. You just, you know, gameplay will help you avoid that. Now, typically for all of my loadouts, I got to use overkill because I'm getting two weapons, and I've really started using Combat Scout now instead of Amped. I used to use Amped all the time for the faster weapon speed, but to be honest, I don't find that that's impacting me. And that Combat Scout, oh man, is that ever effective when you're shooting at guys and being able to see where they're at. And here's what I'm talking about. Check this clip out. This is Combat Scout. See this guy right here? I hit him. You see him lit up the whole way through? I can see him when he was running through the tent, and I can track him all the way through there and get hit markers on him and see him the whole way, even when he's behind stuff. That's an amazing perk. And last but not least, I have what used to be a Ghost class, but is now a Tempered class. And that's one of the new perks that's in this slot here. So instead of grabbing Ghost, I grab Tempered. And what that does is that lets you refill 2 plates to get to 250 health instead of 3. But it cuts down the total time to plate from 6.5 seconds down to 4. And this is a big game changer, especially when you're in a battle and you need to replate and you only have a really small amount of time before their buddy comes at you, because you're usually going to be calling out your position or they can see it on the mini map. That extra, you know, time you save and putting just 2 plates in for the same amount of health instead of 3 is a huge game changer. And it saved me a whole bunch of times already. Now for lethal and tactical, I tend to use Simitex and the heartbeat sensor. And I find this is just what really works well for me. I know a lot of guys like to keep a combat knife so that they can get a quick kill when they get it down, or thermites. There's all kinds of different stuff. So whatever you want to use in here is certainly up to you. I don't think there's any real tactical advantage to using one over the other. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What are you using in Rebirth? Have you got a different loadout that's really working for you? I love trying new stuff, so hit me up in the comment section and let me know what your favorite loadout is. And as always, if you don't see me in Warzone, if you don't see me in Rebirth, it's only a matter of time, baby. King James out.